you have to take a big giant leap and face your own doubts, because you doubt yourself first, and you're like, this is crazy, what am I doing? Right? And then everybody else is like, why would you do that? Just take a steady job, and then actually doing it, right? And that, man, that is so hard to do when it feels like the world is against you. But what is the reward? There's a reward there. What is the reward, Marty? You got that look on your face.
I got that look on my face because that's been ringing very true to me, because I herniated my disc, so I haven't been able to wrestle. Okay, so what's my autonomy? Okay, I still love helping people, so I have my YouTube, my supplements, all this stuff. But being hurt and not being able to wrestle, which I worked so hard for so long, has made me jump into this conversation so much more.
Yeah,
because I'm making content for people that helps people, and I can't go to bed when Lyme disease only wants me to sleep all freaking day. I have a hard time going to bed and actually hang out with my wife, because I'm like, I could do this. I'm excited I'm excited to wake up and work. Yeah. Where before, it was hard for me to get out of bed. I didn't want to be there at all. It was miserable, and I just waited till I could check out. Yeah. And it's such a different experience in life when you wake up excited for what you want to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a huge reward for me. It comes with its own little fun parts too, because I don't get a stockbroker check every other week.
I know, man. But
man, every day between then is so much nicer.
And at the end of the day, you're like, I gave what I wanted to give today. I created what I wanted to create. I took what I believe is true for me, and I gave it to the world. I created something good. That feels amazing.
And not to be a cheap plug, but because you said
no, cheap plug, man. No, there's no shame. Just do it.
I actually just recently came from a thing called a Landmark Forum. It's basically get to know yourself much better. Have you taken Landmark?
I've taken Landmark.
Oh my gosh, I love you, Tony. But it's helped me kind of figure out more of a purpose, more of an autonomy. I met some guy there who said, I really don't think something bad happened to him. I'm not going to give the details here, but something bad happened to him, and he's a dude, so he felt horrible and demasculated by talking about the horrible things that happened to him.
Oh, no.
So I got together with me. I was bullied when I was a kid. So it messed with me until literally this year when I took the Landmark Forum.
Oh, wow.
I'm 34 years old, so I got bullied in freaking middle school. If you want, you can sit down right here.
No, I'm good.
But I wanted to figure out a way to mix. I play a mental health guy character who's crazy. I like to stab people, and I'm crazy. That's my character. But I know mental health is an issue because I dealt with the effects of bullying when I was a kid. So my plan was to get some males and work with him about trying to get together something about providing better self-expression for males, better ways to make you feel okay to talk about some of the shit that happens in our life.
And not be ashamed about it.
And not be ashamed about it. It was very much affecting him. I'm like, dude, I feel that very much. So when you said mental health and stuff like that, I just kind of fell in love with both of you. And something that maybe we could try to figure out something later on.
Yeah. We're going to collaborate with some stuff. We've got some video ideas man. We're going to be cranking out.
Yeah, dude, you should hang out. You should hang. It'd be awesome to have more talks with you. You're obviously I'd actually love to talk to you about fatigue and Lyme, because I've struggled with fatigue. I don't think it's Lyme, but I've actually felt better the last 3 weeks.
Almost 3 weeks. Do something different?
Yeah, sleeping like 10, 11 hours a night.
Okay, that would do it.
Yeah, but that's a different topic. But
yeah.
So over the weekend, Anthony and I were kind of having our Orion Way meeting, and we were talking about your life being like a motorcycle.
Yeah. So I almost want to make this an extra segment, because we always seem to have some kind of analogy. So this is like the analogy of the pod.
Can we write a jingle for that?
We have to.
No, well, actually for me, I mean, just kind of some of my background is I had this intern supervisor, and he was so weird. He was the craziest guy, but he taught me so much about counseling. Like, he was a godsend. And you had to be thick-skinned with this guy, because he would chew you up and spit you out. But man, I learned a lot from him. Because I chose to be thick-skinned, like, I just absorbed so much from him. But he always said, use metaphors. Use metaphors.
Yeah.
That people relate to metaphors. If you give them a good metaphor, it'll click, even if they haven't really experienced it. So anyways,
The metaphor of the day. The metaphor of the day.
You gotta just take that right there.
The motorcycle.
So tell me about the motorcycle. What's the metaphor for that?
Do you ride motorcycles? Have you ridden one?
I have not. My girlfriend will specifically not let me because she says I will crash and die.
If out of all three of us,
like so bad.
Out of all three of us, if I was gonna put my finger on anybody that would have a motorcycle, Marty, it would be you, man. So.
I have tried. Trust me.
Well, it's mostly just a metaphor. Like, so what I was talking about, and I've used this metaphor like in therapy, especially with guys, because I get these adult males and they just seem like an empty shell of a person. Like they just almost seem hollow. Their lives are lacking anything that really gives them a sense of meaning or value. And so sometimes I talk to them about like, your life needs to be like riding a motorcycle. It's amazing. It's freeing. It's liberating. It's powerful. It's got some danger to it. You just basically go where you want and do what you want and feel free and strong and powerful.
It's a thrill, it's a rush. You got wind blowing through your hair.
Hopefully not bugs in your face.
You wake up and you go, man, I'm so excited to ride my motorcycle today. You know,
the bugs in the face are the haters. Okay, we're adding more.
Yeah.
Bug in the face.
Or the bugs in your face are like just the normal result of riding a flipping motorcycle, right?
Yeah.
But and so the reason why we're talking about this is I feel like I see too many guys that it's like they make their female partner the center of their life, the center of their universe, and that kind of leaves them empty. So my feeling on it, and this is my perception. Maybe I'm crazy, but I feel like women should want to ride our motorcycle. They want to. We want to find someone that wants to basically jump on the back of our motorcycle, right? And it's like, yeah, you bet, hop on, let's have a blast, let's go, right? But too often I see these guys where it's like they get in these relationships instead where she's like, you need to park your motorcycle, you need to get off of it and park it and throw a tarp over it and do what I want you to do. And my argument is you shouldn't do that. You will sacrifice your happiness.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's my
100%. I actually agree with you. I believe your happiness, even in a relationship, my girlfriend / fiance now, her happiness is entirely up to her.
Right.
I can only help what I can to supplement making sure that happens for her.
Right. You can be supportive. Yeah. You can be her cheerleader on the sidelines, and listen to her, let her wail on you and she's stressed or whatever. But, in the end, she does have to kind of, I like to describe it as she has to fill her own cup.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Right. Because you usually get two people that are empty trying to fill each other.
Yes. And I feel like some of those are bases for relationships. People who like just don't take the time to figure themselves out, what they want out of lives. I got to find another girlfriend. I got to find something. It's a distraction.
Right. Oh yeah.
Right.
We call that monkey barring.
Monkey barring. Okay.
Yeah. That I feel like that's almost even its whole other topic is monkey barring, because the most unhealthy people that I see are ones that just transfer relationships, go from relationship to relationship.
So I'm curious then, with you guys as kind of being the specialist in this field, why I personally don't think that there's enough people taking the time to discover what they're about themselves.
That's true.
There's no peyote search or anything like that, like the Indians do.
Right.
There's just, you go to high school and you get wrapped up into life. You go to whatever, and it's just distraction. You don't actually get to figure out who am I?
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Is there a way to make it so how do we think we could fix that, where people don't figure out what they want to do with themselves?
Well, that's actually one of the projects we're working on at the orionway.com. We are creating a community right now where men can join from all over and build their tribes in their local areas. And I think that's the key. You have to have a tribe. A lot of times guys don't talk to other guys. They bottle themselves up. They isolate themselves. They play the video games and then don't get out and see the world. And then also it's this thing that we talked about in our previous pods where there's really kind of no longer a rite of passage in the world today, and you have to have a tribe to really actually complete a rite of passage. Unless you do it on your own, there's a lot of self-discovery and self-exploration to really get down to the bottom of that. and that's kind of how I came to it with realizing that I wanted to be an actor. I dabbled in it for many years. And I never really got around to actually making it happen for myself. But I was always getting roles and I was getting parts, and I loved doing the things I was doing with other people, like reading to them out loud and storytelling in general. And people would always, like, there was a couple of girls I dated who they would always go, "Anthony, tell me a story, and they just loved the way that I would express the story and tell it. Like, it's not just this flat, boring story. There's always some kind of inflection to it, and they loved that. And I thought, gosh, there's something to this. There's really something to this for me. And what really put me over the top was when I was working for a financial company, and they were hiring a voice from within. And I got this. I'm going to be the voiceover guy. And I did. I got all the parts. I did all the training videos. I did their promotions, their commercials, their telephone stuff. And then it was like, I'm actually pretty good at this. And it made me realize and that I loved doing it. Like, it didn't bother me doing it. I could have sat in a booth all day and walked out of there, stiff as hell, but enjoyed everything that I did. And at that time in my life, I'd heard a lot of things talked about, like, you have to find that thing that you're willing to do all day. That you don't even realize for it. Yeah. And don't realize the time has passed, like you like go, oh my God, it's like 9 o'clock. It's bedtime already. I've been doing this for 5 hours. I didn't realize, and when you're doing that, whatever that is what your passion is. That is what your purpose is. And believe me, there is something for everybody. No matter how weird your joy is, your passion is, there is somebody out there who's totally into that. Probably lots of somebody's out there who is totally into that. Whatever that niche is, you find it and you start expressing yourself in that niche, and people will flock to you because that's their cup of tea too. They love hearing all about that type of thing.
And so here's your authenticity when you're doing something that you love. They see in your face, like, this guy's really having fun, and they want
right.
Yeah.
Well, here's my answer to your question, Marty. Okay. I feel like we live in a world that is not. I mean, because we grew up in a world that was definitely materialistic, right? About the nice clothes and the electronics or whatever. But now we live in a world that also has social media, and we have to keep up outward appearances. And I think less and less and less people are looking for meaning and purpose internally. And I think they're falling for a lie, and that is that, being popular, being loved, getting approval,
keeping up with the Joneses,
having admiration, whatever it may be, is actually going to fulfill you, and it just doesn't. And people wind up being really, really empty. And I think they're afraid to look internally because especially guys, because they get these messages of like, you're actually born a monster because you're male. And if you start doing this internal work, I hear this from people I know you're giving me a look, man, but I hear this all the time where it's like, I talk to guys about like, well, if you start doing some work internally, and a lot of them express fear, like, I'm afraid I'll turn into something that I hate. And that's an irrational fear, but it's like, for these younger generations, that's sort of uncharted territory. They kind of think that, if I start facing my inner demons, the demons will win. And so I'm just going to keep running from them. And I can do it all day with social media and making purchases and trying to gain approval and watching YouTube videos, blah, 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 blah. It goes on and on and on and on. And learning about yourself, understanding yourself, having the courage to face your inner demons and that type of stuff. That's kind of my answer to your question.
Yeah. Well, and here's something else that I kind of got out of this too, is we have this stigma around selfishness, right? Like, you're told not to be selfish. Don't be so selfish. You hear those phrases a lot.